Welcome to Thriving with Nature. My name is Hayley and welcome back to my backyard. I wanted to share with you what I've been up to today. There's been some exciting things happening. I have just put from seedlings some of my beautiful seedlings into my veggie garden that I built recently. And I've got some more wood on order because I want to actually show you guys what I've done and how I've done it. So in there I've planted corn, cucumber, sunflower, long bean, capsicum, rocket, red spinach, some coriander. Those were the things that were ready, and actually I think the spinach and the rocket I may have planted that too soon, but I wanted to put them all in together so I don't disturb it so much. And it's a bit of an experiment this time. I want to actually sit down with more time and calculate what I want to be planting. But this was, I did think about how I could have a salad because I love cucumbers, lettuce, which will be the rocket because the lettuce hasn't actually come up you'll see in the seed tray. I wanted, so the red spinach, kale hasn't come up yet. There is a tiny little sprout. But yeah, so what sprouted, that's what I put in. Also alongside you can see my passion fruit in the background. Next to that is another trellis, and I've put some gourd, which is loofah. I've put some more cucumber and the tiny little butterfly pea that was just, I probably shouldn't have disturbed it, but I've popped it in there and hopefully it's going to grow as well. So I did that this morning, and then I got really, really excited, and you'll see my beautiful cactus in the back there with beautiful red flowers. Now that is a very heavy pot. And it's been sitting here in where I'm going to be putting the living supplement garden. I'm going to be putting 2 prototypes there. And I really wanted to move it, but 2 people can't even lift that pot, let alone, I think it needs about 4 people. So I will show you a little clip of my Insta story today. I had the penny drop and I went back in style, like Inca style. I found some bamboo and I rolled it along the edge all the way around, and you'll see I did do a little bit of damage to my papaya. There's a couple of branches missing, but I got it right round on the rolling bamboo, broke some bamboo along the way, and got it where I wanted it. Yay! I was so proud of myself. I moved it by myself. It's amazing what leverage can do. So I think I'm a bit of a genius. This pot plant, is too heavy. You'd need about 4 or 5 people to pick it up. And I've been sitting here contemplating how am I going to move it. And I had all this bamboo. And I just have to say, look at this, with one hand, I can move it. Brilliant. The power of leverage. So I did that today. Then I got inspired and I moved my worm bin. So you can just see the top of it here, hidden. Because where it wasn't in an ideal spot. The leachate, which is the juice that comes out the bottom, was sort of leaking out under my gate, which it's not pleasant. It wasn't smelly or anything, it's just a browny liquid, and that doesn't look good. And also it was a waste. And there was about 1 to 2 hours of sun that it was getting, and I really didn't like to put my worms through that. So I found a beautiful spot. It's actually quite hidden. It's very shaded there. It's like it was meant to be. It looks so lovely there. So I moved my worms there and I gave them a bit of a zhuzh and put some more food. I've been putting my scraps in the freezer, and every 2-3 days, that's when I go and feed the worms with the frozen scraps, because the frozen scraps actually break down a bit already. So they're already, by the time they melt, which is very quickly when you put it in the worm bin, it's already broken down, so it started to digest for the worms, which is really awesome. So I did that, which is really cool. And even the leachate, and if it does overflow, it actually goes into the ground there. And I've been trying to, let me just see if I can turn this a little bit. You'll be able to see, just here, I mowed the lawn It's not a lawn. It's when the ground, because it's actually quite bare over that way, what happens is nature starts to sprout up what we call weeds, and it's actually just starting to regrow and build the soil, and over a very long time it turns into a rainforest here in Bali. But what I've done as I've accelerated and I've acted like an animal, and I've actually gone and pruned all these weeds. I didn't want to pull them out because it's growing amazing things under the soil. So I didn't want to pull it out, so I just pruned it all, and it's all neatened up down there. And then the exciting thing, which I didn't wake up and think I was going to do today, but I've been wanting to do, since I moved the worm bin, there is now a space over there, and you can see I've made a compost space. So I've made 2. Ideally it'd be 3, but 2 is good, and normally it's 1 meter by 1 meter is the ideal calculation, but I only had 1.6 meters. So I've made it 80 by 80, even though it's 1 meter tall. And so I have to get some more browns, so some more dry leaves, grasses, all that kind of stuff, because I've got some fresh horse manure that I can get just down the road. I've still got some left over, and I've got plenty of food scraps. What I'm missing is a lot of browns, and I have urban biologist, Bali. They are not too far from here, but because we've all been sort of in lockdown, it's been hard to go and get some browns. But that's what I need to do to get some browns, so I can start to build my own compost soil. So from the worm bin, I get my food scraps taken from the kitchen. I get beautiful lychee, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and some worm castings, which I use, you'll see in a minute. And then from this other compost, because I don't like putting the lemons or any citrus, garlic or onions in the worms, they don't like it. So I want to use those food scraps plus the horse manure inside the other compost that I've got, which is super exciting. So that is exciting. And finally, you can see here I have the lychee, the liquid from the worm farm, and I have put in some worm castings, so some beautiful compost from the worm bin, which should have quite a few beautiful microbes, bacteria, fungi, nematodes. I hope a lot of those in that, a big clump you'll see here, and then I'm putting it in here, and you'll see the bubbling. This, I'm aerating it, and I'm going to be doing this for about 24 hours. And then tomorrow I'm going to use this beautiful liquid, and I'm going to water my garden and feed all the beautiful nutrients and hopefully some delicious microbes that are going to help enhance and build and create life in the soil around me, so that it becomes lush and all my veggies will be so nutrient rich that it will feed my microbiome in my gut. Because right now, the whole thing is building your immune system, and the best way to do that is to build your gut, and the best way to do that is to be eating and licking the microbes off the plants, because that is going to feed your microbiome. I'm reading a book at the moment called Eat Dirt by Dr. Josh Axe. Oh my gosh, I think that's it. I'll write the correct name. But yeah, anyway, that's what I've been doing today. It's been a productive day. I'm very excited. I'm so glad. Thank you so much for joining me. I've got some more videos coming. I want to do the soil story soon, and I have a really cool experiment on the difference between regenerative soil and degraded soil by showing you through bread and flour. You will see that soon. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and please feel free to ask me any comments, ask me how I do some things. I would love to answer you. Thank you for joining me here at Thriving with Nature.